Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This week we will be reviewing the software by Binary Forex Mosa. The software was actually given to me by one of the viewers of the channel, so a big shout out goes to them. Now when you look at Binary Forex Mosa's Instagram page, you get the classic blue screens only win sort of vibe from it that we have seen on this channel before. But also on his Instagram, he doesn't really talk much or post much about his software, only testimonies from his students. And when it comes to testimonies from these Instagram pages, I tend to not believe them, since it's very easy to pay people off and have them send you messages that make you look better than what you are. It did take a bit of scrolling, but eventually you do find posts about the software and the pricings of it. So like you can see here, the price of the Nasdaq 100 software was 5,000, and for this specific period of time it was 2,000, but pretty sure it would be for 5,000 Rand by now. So let's get into how it looks on your charts. So this is what the indicators or software package would look like when applied to your chart. The indicators on the list are the EMA cross, which will be your arrows indicators, the binary robot channel, which will be the wave sort of thing that we have seen before in, I think, Red Billion software, and the new addition to it is the binary robot ultimate edition, which adds circles and this gray block in the side of your MetaTrader 4 platform. The other two indicators are the super tricks and the WA explosion, seen down here. The only thing about these indicators is that they really just tell you about what's going on up here, so they aren't very useful. So the arrows that appear here will also appear here, and as you can see over here and here. So you mainly work off just the indicators on the main chart. So we actually got an explanation from how to use the software by the quote-unquote creator themselves. I'll play that right now.
Alright, so every day before you start trading, you go to D1 chart, you look at the last arrow that popped up. So the last arrow will determine a trend. So as you can see on D1, the last arrow that popped up is blue, and then which means it's a downtrend. And then you jump to a lower time frame, let's say maybe 30 minutes, go to 30 minutes, and then on a 13 minutes chart, since on D1 there is a blue arrow, the last arrow is blue. So what you do on lower time frames, you're gonna take whichever blue arrow that pops up on a lower time frame. So as you can see, the last arrow that popped up is blue on a 30 minutes chart.
So after watching that, you can see that the strategy was to see which was the last daily blue or red arrow that came out, and then from there you go to a lower time frame, and the one he suggested was the 30-minute time frame. So that's the time frame that we use for the backtesting of this software. So going to the 30-minute time frame, you can just see where that line was. So since the arrow came out on the daily on the 26th, that means that for the whole of the 26th you wouldn't be able to trade, since that's the day where the arrow came out. So we just need to section that part off, and now we can see that our trades need to be placed from this point going forward. So with the first blue arrow to came out over here, and in theory it would get you a profit of over 1,800 pips, but this has a lot of similarities to the Red Billion software, where the arrows do repaint, meaning that this information could be false, so we need to run it through a history backtest or a forward backtest. So I did run a backtest on this software and the results were very all over the place. I'll show you what I mean right now. So the first backtest that we ran was on GbpUsd using the 30 minutes plus daily time frame in the period 1 June to 1 July, so a month. And for that month we were able to get a profit of 435 Rand using the lowest lot size of 0.01. The win rate for this period was 66.67%, which is quite good. So the reason why we chose a take profit of 300 pips and a stop loss of 225 pips, which is not really a 2-to-1 ratio, which is the minimum I would say you'd need for a sustainable strategy. We used this because this strategy, being on such a low time frame, would need to be used in a sort of scalping way. So you can't stay in your trades for too long, otherwise you might get caught by a counter trend, because it does work based on daily arrows. So if one day you get a buy arrow and then the next day you could get a sell arrow, so it's better to get out of your trades quite fast. So because of this, there was quite a bit of a risk, and just to see how profitable this would be over a longer period of time, we also backtested a different month using the same pair of GbpUsD. So now we're looking at a backtest ran from the 1st of April to the 1st of May, and as you can see over here, the profits are a lot less than before and the losses are a lot more than before, and that results in a win rate of now around 43% and a profit of 76 Rand. So this is considerably lower than before. So what you might be thinking is that it's because the take profit and stop loss were so close together that every time you get a profitable trade, your losing trade takes most of its profit with it. But through what I've seen, anything that is higher than 300 to 400 pips as a take profit doesn't get hit often enough, and if your stop loss is anything less than 225, the amount of drawdown that you get before the trade goes in your direction will stop you out beforehand. So that's why it's such a funny number at 225, because the amount of stop losses that were hit when it was 200 was just a bit too much. Now, since it was advertised as Nasdaq software, I also ran a backtest on that, and since it's Nasdaq, I didn't use the 30-minute time frame since the drawdown on there would be too much, so I lowered the time frame that was used for entries to the 15-minute time frame. We used a take profit of 10,000 pips and a stop loss of 5,000 pips in that 2-to-1 ratio. Now, for the first backtest on Nasdaq, we got a win rate of around 41%, and that resulted in a profit of 5,075 Rand. So even though the win rate was quite low, since it is Nasdaq and the take profit was more of a 2-to-1, we were able to get a profit that was considerably higher than the currency pair. So I think this software should only be used for Nasdaq trades. However, when you do look at the size of the losses you will be taking, your losses will be around $50, and that currently translates to around 730 Rand even on the lowest lot size of 0.01. So just to be sure, like the previous backtest, we did run this software on a different month. So we ran it on the month of June to July, and with that we only got 20 trades. The previous one had around 29 trades to it, but with this decreased number of trades we were able to get a better win rate. However, the take profit was exactly the same. So using the take profit of 10,000 pips and 5,000 as a stop loss for 2 months, we were able to get the same amount of profit, meaning that there is a bit of consistency with the software. So you've now seen how the results of the software could look for you, and you got an explanation from the quote-unquote creator of the software as to how you should be using it. Now the one problem I have with that explanation is that the thing that I mentioned earlier, with this day you could get a sell arrow and then the next day you could get a buy arrow. If you were to wait for the sell arrow on this day over here, and then for the whole of this day you would be taking sell trades, but then as you can see over here, this day pushed up all the way, and say it created a counter trend where a buy arrow appeared on it, like over here. That would mean that you would now need to look for buy trades. So it is a very laggy indicator, but other than the fact that if you're in a choppy market you might be experiencing quite a few losses, the software still was able to generate a profit even in the worst month that it had, and on Nasdaq it performed consistently. The low win rate is something that I do take an issue with, but like I said before, it was still able to net you a profit. So if you were to rate this specific software package out of 10, it would get a 6 out of 10. We are now over at the Forex Reviews SA YouTube channel. Subscribe if you want more content such as this. And the video you would want to go to is the Wealth Minister Exposed UBS System video. And located in that video's description, you will find the link to the Google Drive folder. And from there you will get the indicators that you need to set up for your binary Forex Mosa system. Please vote on the next poll for the next video that will be coming out. That will be posted on the Instagram page. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.